What is good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle. I've got two kids, and you can probably hear them right now causing a ruckus right above my head. But that's why this story really hit me. Kind of emotional reading this story. And I'll give you my takeaway of where we are, big picture, at the end. But let's start with this. Nikki Darling had the start before I tell you what the story is. Nikki said, men need to be very careful about who they choose to marry and procreate with. That goes for men and women, of course. But in this story, she was responding to this one here about a man in a custody battle with his wife over children. This is the breaking news. Texas Supreme Court rules against father seeking to prevent chemical castration of his son. That's not an over-exaggeration. That's literally what he's trying to prevent. And this video is not to be arguing whether that should happen or not. It's going to be about a tale of two different states, a tale of two different opinions in a household, and where do we go from here? The Supreme Court of Texas denied my mandamus, effectively terminating my parental rights. My parents are now subject to being chemically castrated in California. Texas is an empire of child abuse, is what this father said, and you can understand why the father said that. Let me tell you a little bit about this custody case. The custody case was before the Supreme Court of Texas, which ruled against Younger, the father. The father here, Younger, of two twin boys, had issued a petition on December 16th to try and retain his parental rights after his ex-wife, Dr. Ann Gorgalis, took the boys to California. And there's a reason why he thinks she took the boys to California. What's happening is California has a law in place starting Sunday, that is today, January 1st, that children in that state will not be returned to their home state in the event that the home state would prevent the children from being medically transitioned to present as the opposite sex. And this case started when this child, I don't know if it's both of the sons or not. I forget that. I have to look that up. But the boy was 7 years old when I first saw about this in 2019. This is a boy that's at oldest 10 years old now. Younger, the father, wanted the boys brought home. You see where we are right now. Right now we are at the place where one state, Texas, says, this is not my opinion, this is Texas. This is my understanding is Texas does not support this process. Because I'll show you what the Texas judge ruled here. The Texas judge said that they both have to be in agreement, which is what I would expect. California has a whole different view on it. They say, we'll do the procedures, whatever. They'll go through their process. We'll do it. They don't need the father's opinion on it. And then they don't care if you came from Texas just to do it and then you want to go back to Texas or wherever. They don't care. So we're in a situation where we're really two different countries living in the same country. There is no document, there is no constitution, there is no law that can put that puzzle piece back together. Texas and people don't agree in California. They are puzzle pieces that can no longer fit together. This is proof of that. Going back, Judge Jim Cooks in Texas on October 24th said that both parents should have a joint managing conservatorship with which each able to have a say in his medical treatment. So they said his, so I believe it's just the one boy, even though there's twins. So the judge said you both have to agree is what's happening here. Younger's concern, though, is that in California, his son would be subjected to this procedure deemed to be child abuse by the official opinion of the Texas Attorney General. Texas has laws against the medical gender transition of children and teens. California does not. Cooks gave the two parents joint decision-making back in October over all medical, dental, and psychiatric care for the twin boys, indicating that both the father and mother need to consent to the use of puberty blockers or other aspects of medical transition. If you want to do, my take on this is, if you want to do this with your child, as long as you have consent of both parents and a doctor It's none of my business. A lot of people disagree with me on that. So I'm not trying to get in the way of anything like that. What I'm saying, what's messed up here is you don't have both parents agreeing, and one parent says, well, I'll just move to a state that makes it legal. That's almost at the point where one state says unliving people on purpose is legal and one does not. We're not that far away. I mean, that's where it trends towards, where how do you even exist when the laws are that much different between the states? And then the one state, California, doesn't respect, hey, this is a parental battle from Texas they're coming here for. That's how civil things escalate, this type of stuff right here. I told you the Mason-Dixon line is gender and race theory, critical theory of gender and race. Going back to 2019, the court ruled that the 7-year-old boy can transition to female against the father's wishes. And this is the heartbreaking spot. I'm just going to do this heartbreaking spot here just to say there's real people involved. I'm not making a judgment either way. It's just crazy. And then you already know what my final takeaway is, but I'm going to have to say it anyway. Jeffrey Younger will also potentially have to refer to his son James as Luna in order to affirm the boy's gender identity. The father, this is from 2019 again, has referred to the treatment of his son as sexual abuse by the mother and Gorgulas. Court documents show that James prefers to wear boyish clothes while with him and to be preferred as a boy. I want you to imagine having, this is from the father, electronic communications with your son on FaceTime, and imagine that your ex-wife has dressed him as a drag queen to talk to you, said Younger. It's just one side of the story, but this is, man, I'm not saying there's more than one side to a story, but hypothetically, take away from this picture, you could have two parents that just have beef, and one says, hey, I know you hate this, so I'm going to do this to spite you. Who knows? I'm not saying that's alleged here, but that's the issue we're in. That's why the judge that said, well, that makes it real easy. Both of y'all have to agree, so that takes all that out the equation until that kid's 18. Now imagine how you would feel seeing what I believe is actual abuse. I believe this is not just emotional abuse, but it is very most fundamental form of sexual abuse, tampering with the sexual identity of a vulnerable boy. While James is not currently being administered the drugs, he could face the potential of chemical castration if undergoing hormone treatment after the age of 11. The father says every single day you have to see your son abused and you have to maintain your calm because the courts are not going to be fair to you. And the only way you can survive this and get your son through this alive is to calmly allow your son to be tortured right before your eyes and outlast the opposition. That's what it's like, said Younger. And my final takeaway is really simple. I don't know. No one's convinced me otherwise yet. I'm just seeing it more and more every day. Why are we trying to keep a union together with states this far apart culturally? Why is that even a thing? Why are we even looking at this thing as a union of 50 states? If one state can't even have the decency to say, it'd be one thing if California didn't know. And the same would apply to Texas if it was a reverse type scenario with 2A or whatever else. California knows this is a joint custody issue. They know this is a Texas issue. They know the moms potentially, we don't know, but could be potentially going to California to be a sanctuary to do this procedure, which she couldn't do it in Texas because the Texas judge ruled joint custody. Why are we keeping up this facade? It's over. California doesn't even have the decency to say, we believe in these procedures, but you are coming here on some old beef stuff. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. The Texas judge said they had to be joint custody. We'll see. Maybe I'm jumping ahead. Maybe California will say that. If they don't, then maybe we should revisit this. This is not a marriage that should be together. Let me know what you think.